I think that's a huge learning moment that a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of creators need to go through.
There's something very weird about us as humans, and that is as soon as you cannot have something, you tend to want it even more.
How do you kind of usually implement scarcity and urgency into your sales process?
That's a good question. I don't.
I see a lot of opportunity. I think that that's like a gold mine that you're kind of just sitting on.
So let's talk about challenges and bottlenecks.
What I'm really trying to do beyond just teaching guitar, teaching them to express themselves is that, and I think my courses are going to help them achieve those things and just do something real.
What's the thing that is the stickiest part of this process for you? What comes to mind?
I think just conversion.
Generally what I find a lever you can pull to kind of increase conversions, two of the simplest and easiest are...
One thing that I always like to have my clients think first through is that when you're dealing with urgency, allow the discount to be...
We're going to get dirty, we're going to roll up our sleeves, and we're going to pretty much give everything away. And it's got me super excited.
Welcome to The Growth Question. I am super excited to be here with you, John. This is something new that we're starting. We're kind of beginning this new project so that we get an opportunity to talk with entrepreneurs and people that we've kind of come across in the past and maybe some new faces as well. And I'm just really excited for this opportunity to be able to take real world problems with real world people and figure out what it might look like to help provide some interesting and fun answers.
Yeah, and we're taking a different approach, which I'm really excited about. I know Craig's really excited about, and hopefully you, Jeff, and our future guests here are excited about, where we're taking kind of a collaborative approach and taking our expertise, sharing what we know in real time with people so we can raise the tide of all ships. And we're not taking the standard approach. We're going to get dirty. We're going to roll up our sleeves and we're going to pretty much give everything away. And it's got me super excited. So I'm ready to rock and roll.
So let's kick things off here. Jeff Williams, welcome to the show. Why don't you kind of get us started? Tell us a little bit about you, your brand, your business, and the context that we're working within today.
Sure. Yeah. Well, first off, thanks so much, for having me on, guys. I'm excited to roll up our sleeves and get into it. And yeah, I teach guitar online, primarily through YouTube, and then courses, do Patreon membership as well. And a lot of what I focus on is improvisation, getting you to express yourself and find kind of your own sound. And currently I've been focused a lot on the Grateful Dead, so teaching their style. And it's something that I just have a lot of passion for. And as you could guess, a lot of other people, do it as well. But it's really more about them as a vehicle than it is about teaching their songs or their style. It's just the perfect vehicle to learn how to improvise and learn about music theory and learn how it all connects to the guitar. So that's kind of the mission I'm on, to just get people to learn how to express themselves as best they can through guitar.
Awesome. So if you were to paint a picture of what it looks like basically for your customer journey. So how are people first finding out about you, engaging with you, and then eventually becoming a customer?
Like I said, it's mostly coming in through YouTube. That's the top of the funnel. So it probably is a combination of search. So especially doing a lot of Grateful Dead and other bands too, like Allman Brothers, that are kind of related. People search for it, video pops up, they watch it, and they start going down that rabbit hole. Or it's the algorithm that's just putting the video in front of them because it knows them, of course, better than they know themselves, right? So they know, oh, you like this. And
it's not scary at all. No.
Yeah, it's all noble. And and then a lot of my videos, especially the last year or two, the goal on my end, besides trying to, enlighten someone or get them to take action with a guitar and all that stuff, of course, is to also take action of there's something else here. We want to go a little deeper. Click the link below, the typical stuff. I've got about, 8 different lead magnets that can kind of help solve different pain points for the ideal customer. And so they click on that, they get the free thing, and then they're on my email list. So,
and can you go actually, because I think this is a pretty good segue. We'll go ahead and get trucking and really open the eyes of the world here. I'm glad you got that. Into some of this more on the monetization, the business side. Can you share maybe your top 2 lead magnets and really what the pain points that you're targeting there, how they're constructed. Then we can kind of start to unravel and look at kind of the business as a whole.
Yeah, I would say the top one is an easy one. That's a great question. Is this cage system cheat sheet? So the cage system, it's a very simple thing. People get confused. Oh, what is this? It's just an acronym for open chords, which you play down below in the guitar. So it's very easy. It ties into a lot of my videos, ties into a lot of stuff with Grateful Dead, helps kind of navigate their style and their sound and improvising really well. So I use that one a lot, and that one converts the best. People are just really like hungry for something that can kind of solve that issue of like understanding and really applying the cage system. And then once they get it, they get the PDF, but I have videos that take it further, like a sequence of maybe, I forget, 5 days, 5 videos showing how to apply it, showing how to just different uses for it. And that's then funnels it to a course called Guitar Theory Toolbox, which goes really in depth with applying the cage system and how to understand music theory as a whole and how it particularly applies to guitar. So that's my best performing lead magnet.
And so real quick, just to kind of figure out a little bit who you're targeting, from someone who knows nothing about guitar, Craig laughs because about a year ago I started taking drum lessons, and I can play in 4/4 time, like, I don't know, Seven Nation Army maybe, right? Like super, super basic stuff. I love the Grateful Dead. I can't imagine playing some of this stuff there. But from someone who doesn't know anything, this seems like it's targeted a little bit more at definitely not a beginner, right? But
No, no.
someone who, obviously enjoys and wants to learn about some more advanced music. I think the Grateful Dead is very advanced music. So who are you targeting? Like, what part of their journey are they at with this lead magnet? And we'll kind of get into more, I think, of the overall infrastructure of your business as well.
Yeah, it's a really great question. That is basically, you already hit the nail on the head. It's more of like an intermediate kind of level player, and especially at that focus on that improvised, approach. It's like they're not brand new to it, but they've been doing it for a little while, so it kind of helps kind of tie things together for them and take it to like another level. So it's not beginners, but I have been experimenting just this year doing much more beginner stuff too, which I've been a little bit torn of like, is this too different? Because, I put out a video, it's geared towards them, and my normal audience, the more intermediate level, is going to be turned off by it. But I feel like it is just a huge audience. I'm just ignoring the beginners. And it's obviously for them learning anything, that's going to be the biggest audience is your beginners. And it also gives you room to grow, or for them to grow with you by going up the stages, like getting to the cage system, down the road after they learn some fundamentals and stuff. So I've been pushing myself in a little bit in some different directions lately.
So it sounds like you're just that, pushing yourself to grow and widen your sphere of influence and who you're attracting. But if you were to define, this is my ideal person that I deal with, essentially your ICP, what would that sound like?
Yeah, kind of like I just said, of, somebody who's more an intermediate. They've been playing for a little while. They know their open chords. They can play G, C, D, they can play up the neck a little bit. They know some basic scales. They can solo around a little bit. Maybe they've played in a band before. They played one now, or they want to, that kind of level of player. They know some songs. They got maybe 10 songs under their belt, that at least. And that's kind of the target.
Okay. And why are you uniquely positioned to help that person?
I think people at that stage, they've gotten over the big hump. With learning anything, there's a learning curve. But guitar, there's a very steep learning curve very quickly. I think people often think that it's very easy because it's the most popular instrument in the world by far. So it's like, oh, if everyone's doing it, how would you grab guitar? And it's not that hard. I mean, just to play a chord and strum it cleanly is very challenging. Whereas, say, piano, I always like to compare it. It's easy. You just put your hand down there. You can put a baby in front of it. You can play the piano, but then it gets very complicated very
Yes,
quickly too. There's
but you don't
huge
need
challenges with
calluses to
that.
play a piano.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's nice and soft, but the guitar, yeah, it rips your fingers up. People, so everyone complain like, oh, my fingers hurt so bad. I can't, it's just normal. I just can't do it, And so yeah, when people get past that initial hump, most people don't do it, but the ones who do, then they enter that more, I hate to label it beginner, intermediate, advanced, but it's just to simplify. Yeah. They're in the more intermediate stage. They're past that hump. They feel like they're going great, but then they start to get to the point where they feel like they're plateauing and they get really stuck. And it can be very demoralizing. It's like things were going well. It's like, what happened? I can't get to where I want to go. They have a sound in their head. I want to play like this, especially again with improvising solos and stuff. They want to play the way they hear it in their head and they can't do it. So that's kind of where I'm targeting and where I'm trying to step in to help them break past those barriers.
So what I really like about that is that you're meeting people on the journey once and after they're committed. And so they've hit the plateau. They know they have this place they want to get to. There's this ideal of I strap on the guitar, I walk in with the band, and I can just play because it's inside of me and it just flows out. But they don't know how to get there yet. And so I think that's really important as something for you to pay attention to in the future also, is just to say that since that's the ideal person that you're working with and you have all the skills, all the knowledge, all the experience necessary in order to take them where they want to go, that keying in on that level of commitment because they've gone through physical pain to get to where they are, that's something that's really powerful and really important in what you're trying to accomplish.
Enjoying the conversation? Good. Me too. Well, I have amazing news for you. The fun doesn't need to stop here in the episode. You can get regular insights from both Craig and I on building, growing, and overcoming your growth questions. Go to tgq.tool/signup to get the type of coaching found here on the growth question. We'll put a link in the description down below for you. Just tell us where you want the coaching sent and you'll get it delivered directly to your inbox. Now back to the show. I think it's great, especially it's always easier to, like what you already said, there's a huge bucket, there's a huge pool of potential customers that were like me, only for the drums, that are like, okay, I just want to get some sticks and start playing. Maybe I can invest a few $100 here and learn from Jeff, speaking about the guitar. But I do think, and I'd be curious to dig into more of this too as well, both on the fulfillment side and of course on the pricing side, right? On the fulfillment, when you help people that are further along in their journey, and I focus more on B2B, I know Craig does as well. It's curious to kind of pick your brain here a little bit too. When someone's already committed, I love that word, Craig, to what they're doing, the transformation with your end user, I think, is going to come easier. And it's going to, at least what I find, is be more fulfilling as a business owner because you can actually see it, right? Like when the commitment is there, it's easier to cross over certain bridges. All of that being said, let's get into it. I guess if you don't mind, you mentioned earlier you have courses, right? I take it those are virtually on demand, right, in its entirety. Yeah. Can you take us through a little bit more of your product offering and the ascension of your products? Like, do you do one-on-one? Do you do group? What kind of do you have involved there?
So I don't do one-on-one, but I'm about to. I'm actually working on another course that actually I'd love to get into in a second. So that's my focus. And when I get into something, I kind of like I'm all in. So it's hard for me to balance it. So I'm pushing that one-on-one thing down the road just for a little bit. And if that goes well, when I do launch that, I'd like to do some group stuff as well. But I don't currently do group as well. But I use Kajabi, and there's a lot of good options for both those scenarios. I kind of tinkering around for running groups and doing one-on-one offerings and stuff. But right now it's just courses and Patreon, which is a separate thing. It's a monthly subscription, and I just do extra lessons on there occasionally that they can only get there. And right now, the course that I'm working on that I'm hoping to launch by the end of next month is a whole new style, a new type. It's called Dead Easy Improv, 30 Days to Solo and Confidence. And it's a 30-day challenge where you get a video every day. And I just, teach for a little bit, like 2 to 5 minutes. And then there's a backing track for about 5 minutes with a video showing them exactly what to do. And every day it just gets a little harder and we keep revisiting things. And it's all about really immersing yourself in playing rather than just like learning, like reading a book or something. So I'm excited for that. And I feel like it's the perfect next step from the beginner's one. So it's the first, when you asked about my ascension, I never really planned these out very well. And this is the first time where I'm starting to think like, what would be the next step? And this is hopefully the perfect next step.
So is that one you just described, are you offering that as uh, an uh, extra offer that you can give people like an upsell during the checkout process of the other course, or do you offer it independently? How do you present it to your customers?
Well, I haven't launched it yet, but I will be doing all of
Hmm.
that. So it'll be as an upsell. For the other one, I'm going to bundle it together so they could buy them together at a discounted price or buy it individually as well. And there's a bunch of things I'm very excited about it because this just the style of being a 30-day challenge and making people really have to play a lot every day. I'm excited for that style, and hopefully it will get the transformation that I'm hoping and they're hoping to get from it. And it'll give me that perfect next step. And I'm hoping to get them to try to record themselves like a video every day. And the first day and the last day are the same thing. So I'm hoping that we can see that transformation and I can use it as testimonials to show here's day 1, day 30. Look how much better these people got. And I'm also going to run a challenge, which I just got the idea from Alex Hormozzi's new book. The very first chapter, Win Your Money Back. I'm reading through it. I'm like reading this story and I'm like, oh, this is really cool. How about this gym is offering you win your money back if you can meet these requirements. I'm like, I don't see how it applies to me at all. And then it all of a sudden clicked. I'm like, wait a second, I can do this. If somebody goes through the new course, I can see their progress. So I'm going to make it these parameters. If they can watch all the videos and I can see that they have within 45 days, so I give them a little bit buffer zone because of course life gets in the way, and they submit that a video of themselves playing day 1 to day 30. They don't have to do all of them, but just day 1, day 30. Well, and they reach out to me and saying they did it. I will give them a coupon for 50% off any of my courses or bundles or anything. So I'm hoping
I love
it
it.
will boost sales. I'm hoping it will encourage people to finish and there'll be a better retention rate and we'll get a better
Hmm.
transformation for them. And then they'll hopefully buy more courses. And then I can use those videos as, proof of concept and stuff.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you're making ads. Like if you ever
Mhm.
turn those into ads, that would be like
Yeah.
monster conversions, I would imagine, with something like that. So let's talk about challenges and bottlenecks. So you have all of these different options available. You're top of funnel on YouTube. The algorithm's pushing you out. People are converting into your lead magnets. They're coming into your world with a mini course. That mini course pitches the paid course, and then you have an ascension model that you're working on developing through the course and into, I don't know if higher ticket's the right word, but additional ways to engage with you. So when you think about, okay, well, what's the thing that is the stickiest part of this process for you, or the hardest part for you to be able to grow even further or larger than where you're at? What comes to mind?
I think just conversion, just getting people to buy. Well, marketing in general has been my weakest thing, whether it's
Hmm.
doing all of this, which is it's a lot of it's just is marketing, but also like when I used to just play in bands, night after night, it was just like I would yeah, would not even tell people about shows. I was just bad about marketing. I would just be good about the music. I could learn the music. I could write the music. I could organize the bands if I was leading it, get the gigs. But like getting the word out was my weak point.
Okay. So when it comes to dealing with marketing and is it something that you just don't like doing, that you actively avoid doing? Do you feel like you don't know exactly how to fine tune the process specific here for your business? When I'm bringing this up, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
I guess, yeah, just fine tuning the process. It's also not my favorite. I'm learning to like it more, both the marketing and just the business side and thinking about the business, like getting the idea from the Hormozy book. Like I was genuinely excited about that and thinking about the ideas and how I'd work it out. So the love of these things, it's starting to grow in me, but it's more just fine tuning the process and not having it feel like it's so piecemeal. Which
Okay.
even the courses themselves felt like I have this big suite of courses. I think that they complement each other well, but they don't. You know, there's no ascension until this new one comes out.
Right. One more clarifying question, then John, I'll let you jump in.
Yeah, cool.
Do you feel like the issue is more leads or conversions?
I would say conversions.
Okay. So you're getting a healthy amount of leads coming in. And so now you just need to figure out how to get them to go from browsing to buying.
Yes, yes. Yeah, for example, that caged lead magnet that we talked about, I ran a Facebook ad recently and I hadn't done it since I think last year. It usually just comes in all through YouTube, and they're going to be much better, warmer leads because they're watching the video, they get to know me. Whereas on Facebook, it's more cold. And I ran 3 different versions of it, and one came out the clear winner, but nobody actually bought the course that it was selling. And I just finished it, so I think everybody's gone through the funnels, and it
Hmm.
didn't sell anything. So I was tracking the data for the first time. I'd never done that, so I was excited to see it and see, oh, that was a clear kind of winner. It was getting the best conversion, just the most people on the email list by far compared to the other two, but yet uh, nobody bought. So, and it doesn't mean that they might not buy that course or another one down the road. They're on the list, but I was hoping to see some sales, obviously,
Yeah.
from my investment, right away.
If we're spending money on ads, we want to be able to at least recoup the cost of that during the
Yeah,
campaign.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So zooming in on that a little bit, and we might get muddy, but let's do it. We said we were going to roll up our sleeves. In a campaign like that, and we could even blow it out to more of your just overall campaign structure. Generally, what I find a lever you can pull to kind of increase conversions, and there's many things, but two of the simplest and easiest are in urgency, scarcity, and framing and positioning. You said you have all these courses, and there's kind of no, I mean, they're you. The common thread is you. They're kind of working on different skills, different benefits, different outcomes. There's really no ascension. Would you say the framing and positioning of your course suite is kind of just simply you? Is it like I'm the Grateful Dead guy, or is it like what is it where it's like, maybe it's not really this, but if you're the only person that offers this, what is kind of that positioning there? And then we'll get into like scarcity and urgency as well.
Yeah, it's where I think that it does lack a little clarity. It's like it's a combination of it's me in all of it, and over time, people are getting more and more familiar and into my own playing. Like a lot of times I just post videos of me playing over my tracks, and more I get people saying like, can I get the tab, which is like written out guitar form of what you were doing? And I'm like, I don't know. I was just, I just hit record. I was just playing. So it's great that I'm getting people into my own playing. And that is kind of more the ultimate goal. But yet I'm also one of the Grateful Dead guys doing this. So and there's a beginner course now, but it's also everything else is more intermediate focused. So well, I feel like every year I keep kind of narrowing it down a little more. It's still like I'm still not quite clear enough. Yeah, like what exactly, it is I'm who exactly I'm for.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, it's a really hard question, especially in kind of the like solo creator coach. I do feel like people buy into like the protagonist, like, and you have a warm audience is what it sounds like. Like people know you, they come video after video. In terms of the urgency and scarcity, to kind of narrow in more on the conversion side of things, take us through how you included scarcity. So like there's only X amount of spots, right? Or urgency, we're going live or the doors closed this day. How did you, at least with this campaign, because we were talking about it, and then if you want to share a little bit more, how do you kind of usually implement scarcity and urgency into your sales process?
That's a good question. I don't.
Boom.
So
We're going to dive in there.
There you go. So yeah, those two, aspects, I think probably would be the two. Funny you bring up both those that I don't really do much of, except when I do a launch. So this launch coming up for the new course, the 30-day course, there'll be urgency because it's like the discount. I'll probably just do like a 25% off launch discount will end at a certain time, and also this will be the first time adding the challenge, like I don't know what you want to call it, bonus of if you can complete this challenge, get it, but I'm only going to offer that during the launch week. That'll go away. So that'll help um, boost that a little bit. But scarcity of like, I only have 10 slots open, this, that, I've never experimented with that.
Yeah,
The-
that's usually harder to do with, and Craig's the master here. He could probably speak more on it, but like on evergreen courses, that's why I'd be curious really to get into more ascending your current customers into higher ticket, more access products, kind of a metaphor that I like to use because foolishly, I'm a big Chicago Bears fan, which I should have chose a different team, but whatever. But the metaphor I like to use for kind of access and price point is like you can watch a football game at home for free. You can watch it at a bar for $50. You can watch it in the nosebleeds, like the 300, 400 section for $200, in a luxury box for $1,000, or on the field for $10,000. All the same football game, right? But where's your level of access? Where's your level of proximity to what's actually going on? And like I said, the scarcity of like, I'm only selling 10 of these courses doesn't really work. But, and we can get more into this, I do think listening to how your business adapted a little bit during COVID of like creating and I already forget what it's called, but kind of the karaoke of guitar. I see, and again, we can kind of land here in a little bit. I see a lot of opportunity in a community element of like these people who are already committed to guitar, whether it's, learning what Jerry or somebody else, um, and learning together and paying a premium for that group community aspect. I think that's like a gold mine that you're kind of just sitting on. I'd love to hear Craig's thoughts here, and we can kind of go forward from there.
Would you like to be a guest on The Growth Question? Go to tgq.tools/apply to tell us about you, your business, and your growth question. So I absolutely agree with what you've said in terms of community and also in terms of urgency. Scarcity is tough to do with digital products. And so you have to turn the corner into being either some sort of time-bound event or something that has closer access, like you're saying. The one thing that I always like to have my clients, and Jeff, I know we've talked about this a couple times, think first through is that when you're dealing with urgency, allow the discount to be the last straw that you pull. Just because a couple different reasons. Number one, if it's the first thing that you go to, that limits your creativity in terms of how can I make this a compelling offer for someone without taking money out of my own wallet. And also, it tends to, when you lead with discounts, it tends to train your audience to say, well, I'm just going to wait until he's discounting it, or when the next thing is, or whatever. And so I don't hate discounts. I like discounting stuff for people who are existing customers. And it's not like it's something, because they truly are effective. But if there's other ways that you can add in elements to your offer that aren't led through discounts, ultimately, I think you're better off. And you can serve people at a higher level because you're getting more creative about what can I provide, what can I give, what can I do in order to make this compelling on top of the original thing that I've offered. And so one of the most dramatic instances of this that I've seen was I had a client who had an evergreen course for a very long time, and he decided that he wanted to do closed cart, and then he had a launch that was $99,000. It was like almost six figures, and his evergreen course was dripping in nicely, but nothing like that. And I'm not suggesting you necessarily close your course, but it just demonstrates the power of being able to say that there is a line in the sand that after this point, you can't get X, Y, or Z. And I think that's like we pinpointed, a big part of what you're missing to drive people to action.
Yeah, I with the course coming up, this is the first one where I really created an offer map, and I think I've got it pretty much set in place. And one thing, there is a bonus little course, mini course that's going to go with it that perfectly pairs up about ear training, the specific style and stuff. And I have thought about like maybe only offering it during the launch. So it adds a little urgency of, I don't know about scarcity or urgency, but
Yeah.
you only get it then, and maybe other times I can open it up. I guess it's just, I have a hard time stomaching that. I work real hard on it, and now like it's only this 1 week, and then it's just gone, you know?
Well, so it's not that it's gone. It's that it's limited in availability. So that doesn't mean you can't make it available at some other point. But there's something very weird about us as humans. And that is, as soon as you cannot have something, you tend to want it even more. And that's the difficult part about being in a position of providing something to the market, because our whole instinct is to sell and sell more. But there's this weird inversion that comes with, okay, well, if I'm willingly withholding the ability for you to buy something, then the market responds in a way that's like, well, okay, well, I need to know exactly when it's available again. And it's incredibly powerful how people respond when they have a reason to act, rather than I'll get to it when I think about it or remember. And as you pointed out, oftentimes life gets in the way.
And I think I just kind of want to zero in on that for a second too. Like this is me using your words. You said like, I worked so hard on it. It sucks that it's only available for this week, which I would reframe that to, I worked so hard on it, so it should be available when I say it's available, right? Like
Yeah. Love
because you
that.
worked so hard, it's by nature of that. That's like a lot of its value is there. And I think it's kind of, I like to think in analogies a lot and metaphors. And it's like J.C. Penney versus, and I hate this brand, but it's the first one that I could think of, versus like Supreme, right? You know, like the skateboarding brand, right? J.C. Penney, their whole business model is we're just going to be on discount every day of the week, right? Like it's normally $49.99. Today it's $29.99. And any day you go in there, it's that. But just the person who doesn't know that thinks they're getting a deal, but they always wanted $29.99. Supreme's business model is we're going to do limited availability launches. We're going to get people lining up outside the door. We're going to create buzz. Only certain people can have this hat to try to get social validation from a piece of clothing, which again, that I don't agree with. But in terms of their marketing and saying like only a certain amount of people are going to be able to wear this sweatshirt, I think, again, exactly to what Craig said, drives this primal, this emotional, this thing within inside us where it's like, I want that. And so if we can keep blowing this out, it's like, kind of figuring out more of the positioning and like, the listening kind of mini course that you talked about, like, oh, I can only have this now. And it's going to, well, hell yeah, I want it. It's more compelling than, well, until September 15th, it's 25% off, and don't get me wrong. Like I've gone through this. I'm pretty sure Craig has gone through probably 99%. And I still struggle with it. But I do want to kind of double click on this because I do think it's very important in a psychological and marketing shift of like, you aren't a commodity, your products aren't a commodity. So let's treat ourselves more like Supreme than J.C. Penney. So
Hearing you guys talk about this, something clicked with me. It really reminds me of my kids who are 3 and 5, and when one has something, the other one like they always want it,
Yes.
and some people in their lives try to get the family members try to get them two of everything, and I always think they're like, no, they should learn how to share, like sometimes it's okay, but like they should ultimately learn how to share and deal with it. But it's funny that like 3 and 5-year-olds, sure, you'd expect that, but as adults, you think like, oh, people get over that, but they don't really. There's something in us that like when somebody has something and we don't have it, you want to get it, or if it's only available for a certain time, that scarcity mindset is just kind of drilled into us.
Yeah. It's fascinating how strong that desire is and how strangely predictable it is too, which, you know, we want to make sure all these techniques are obviously used for good and not evil, but
Of course, yeah, yeah.
that's how people react. And so I realized we started off this whole interview and we never started with your question. And as I go back and read your question, I think we we did a really good job of being able to actually address it. So you've seen a lot of businesses like mine. What do you think is my biggest opportunity I might be overlooking right now? And I think John hit the nail on the head in pointing out the fact that your lack of urgency is what is making it so that even though you have this wonderful amount of lead flow in, they're not converting at the rate that you would like.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably it.
And I would say too, I don't know how it happened. My background is not in consulting, but since I've been on this online world, I've met a lot of people that work for EY and Boston Consulting, McKinsey, and stuff like that. And I would ask them when I was negotiating like projects, they would always say like, never compete on price, right? It's just kind of like gospel to these people. And I think Craig already kind of mentioned this, but I wanted to just highlight it. Discounting is like a last resort, right? That's competing on price. Even though, and we outlined this in the very beginning of this whole conversation, right? Like your people are committed to this craft. They've bought into you as a leader. When we get them to a place of like, okay, let's invest in upskill your guitar playing, the way we're doing that is we're kind of just saying like, if you want, I'll let you do it for 100 rather than 150. I don't know if those are your price points, but for easy numbers, where we can not compete on price and compete on value, right? You want to upskill, like I'll give you this, I'll give you this. I'll also throw this in for free. I'm throwing this in, which I only do once a year. If we're just talking about like the nature and how compelling an offer is, like that's how I think we should think. People listening, myself, I'm going to take this, I've kind of nailed it into my own head after this conversation. Sometimes you need to speak it out loud, but I think that's a huge kind of learning moment that a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of creators need to go through in reframing their own value of their business, their products, and their offerings from commoditization, which is competing on price, versus luxury, which is competing on value.
Yeah, I think that marketing is something I've struggled with, and I think that this particular aspect of scarcity and urgency has been the hardest. And I guess it doesn't feel like it sits well with me. But I think I need to reframe it as like if it's going to get people to purchase a course or whatever offer it is, then so be it. Because I have to reframe it and think about it's in their best interest. Because ultimately all my offerings, my courses, I'm trying my absolute best. I put my heart and soul into helping them achieve what it is they want to do. And really, I've been thinking more lately, but what I'm really trying to do beyond just teaching guitar, teaching them to express themselves is to just do something real. Like I get really down when I see people on their phones. I was on a whale watch last weekend and everybody's just using their phone the whole time, or then we were coming back in the boat and everybody's just playing like Candy Crush or something on their phone. And it just really brings me down. And I want people to do things that are real and authentic, like just simply learning an instrument and hopefully playing with other people and connecting and maybe even playing in front of other people. And I think, my courses are going to help them achieve those things and just do something real. So that's, I think, a way to reframe it for myself. That's motivating of like, that's my ultimate goal, what I'm trying to do.
I love that. And so if you're watching or listening to this and you're ready to do something real, you want to get a guitar in your hand and want to learn from Jeff, where would you send people?
Just Jeff Williams Guitar. Just throw it in there, the URL, Google, YouTube.
Awesome. Well, I've had the best time doing this. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me, guys.